The Bears' plan is a lot cleaner than that. Yes, they paid 8 figures to Andy Dalton, but when they made the move from 20 to 11 on draft night to get Justin Fields, it became clear that at some point it's going to be Justin Fields' ball game. Here is Fields and Coach Matt Nagy from the weekend talking about the possibility of Fields becoming the starting quarterback.
As a competitor, you're always out to perform your best. And anytime you've stepped into a program, you've been thinking about winning the starting quarterback job. Do you take that same mentality as you start rookie minicamp and all these off-season workouts that you're going to do everything you can to win the starting quarterback job?
Of course. I mean, I think everybody on our team should be striving for a starting job. And if you're not, then there's no reason for you to be here. So, of course, I'm going to do everything that I can to, get that starting job. And, it's really – it's not up to me. Coach Nagy, he has a set plan on, my development and stuff like that. But I'm just going to, work hard and keep my head down and just keep grinding it out every day.
Will Fields get any first-team reps between now and week 1?
Right. So what I would say is this is as we work through with Justin and where he's at with this offense, we know that it's going to take a little bit of time here in this offseason as we get into training camp. And so we're, Andy is the starter. Andy's going to get the 1 reps. And what we're telling Justin and Nick to do is make sure that they're doing everything they can to try to be that guy. And that's that competition part. And I know that for everybody, the biggest question is when is that going to happen? When you go up to draft a quarterback like Justin, everyone's very excited and they want to know when. And trust me, we all understand that. But we need to make sure that whatever that plan is that we put together, that it's the best thing for the Chicago Bears. And I think the easiest way for all of us to simply think of this is it'll all happen for those quarterbacks. They'll all play however they're supposed to play, and we're all going to see whatever we're supposed to see. And then it's our job as evaluators of who they are, what their strengths and weaknesses are, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make the Bears the best team possible. That's it.
I'm glad he put it that way. What's in the best interest of the Bears? Well, on draft night, it was in the best interest of the Bears to move from 20 to 11, give up a first-round pick next year and a fourth-round pick and a fifth-round pick to make that flip-flop. So if it's in the best interest of the Bears to go up 9 spots and give up all that extra draft capital to get Justin Fields, you assume it's in the best interest of the Bears to get the guy ready and get him on the field. But at the same time, you don't want to accelerate to the point where it becomes detrimental. And I do believe some teams like to put a guy farther down on the depth chart so he can build some confidence as he passes Nick Foles, as he passes Andy Dalton. Because at the end of the day, all due respect to Andy Dalton, if you can't beat out Andy Dalton, why in the hell are the 11th overall pick in the draft?
Yeah, that's right. Again, they can preach patience here. There's no doubt. Hey, we know, like you're saying, Justin Fields has more pure, raw talent than Andy Dalton and can definitely do things where we'd go, whoa, that's special. Andy Dalton can't do that. It's going to be about everything we talked about in the draft, though. And I think that's where Matt Nagy is trying to just, probably smooth things over. I think most people viewed Justin Fields as a guy that, hey, needs some polish, needs some work as a passer and do those type of things to where that's where I think Nagy is trying to keep pressure off the situation just to, hey, let's let this guy, buy some time, get used to playing here, get the offense, do all of those type of things. But I think ultimately, I'm with you. I just think it's a matter of time, too. When you make that type of move, those type of assets, it's not Andy Dalton. He's not the future. You know what he is. I mean, I would think that as long as Justin Fields just is in the mix as the talk of, starting week or starting and being in that conversation, that I would make that move if I'm Chicago. But I don't know where that's going to go, and they're going to evaluate it, and we'll see how Justin Fields does.
And the Bears are not tucked into the 9-game cluster at 1 p.m. Eastern week 1. They have a primetime date with the Rams, which makes their situation even more conspicuous. Whoever is starting, it's going to be a big topic. And if it's Dalton on the field that night, there's going to be a lot of talk about Fields. There's going to be a lot of shots of Fields on the sideline. And if Fields is playing, well, he better be ready to go. And with Andy Dalton, look, this is a guy who came in, started right away because Carson Palmer had quit on the Bengals back in 2011, took the team to 5 straight playoff berths, but he's never been in this situation where he's been pushed hard from behind. The closest he came was when A.J. McCarron showed up and played pretty well when Dalton broke his thumb trying to make a tackle after an interception. Do you see a viable possibility here that being pushed like this from behind will nudge Andy Dalton to a higher level?
I don't think so. I think we know we know what Andy Dalton's all about at this point. Yeah, it's a good arm. It's a pretty good athlete, but it's not anything great or special that way. So he's a real professional. He's played in a lot of big moments. He's battle-tested. He's played in the end of big-time football games and come through a number of times to help his team win, all of those type of things. But, no, I think this is, specifically one that's truly about just Justin Fields and where he is at his development. And, the other thing I'll say in, Justin Fields' defense as compared to, let's say, a Trey Lance, listen, Shanahan's a genius. Matt Nagy, nobody is saying that right now, right? With Trey Lance in that situation, all right? The other thing is the 49ers offense and everything they're set. When you look at their other 10 guys on their offense, it's an NFL all-star team. I mean, Kittle, Juszczyk, Trent Williams, Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, Mostert. I mean, holy crap. Maybe one of the best offensive lines in football. Chicago's got to be a little careful, too, just to first go, wait, how are we going to be offensively? What are we going to do on this side of the ball? Is our offense good enough that we feel like we could put a rookie in there and things won't fall apart? So there is going to be a little bit of a different assessment, I think, as far as Fields in that situation in Chicago as compared to Trey Lance with the 49ers and a team that's in the Super Bowl window.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And look, you've got a lot of jobs in Chicago this year or next year riding on whether or not Justin Fields becomes the guy. And, to the extent that Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy got ownership to buy into this trade up, giving up next year's first-round pick to address a quarterback, my first reaction was this means these guys have 2 years.
Yeah.
So why do you want to rush it? If the final exam is what does Justin Fields become, why do you want to rush it and potentially screw it up? You're going to want to take your time because this year becomes a scholarship year. 2022 becomes the year that you got to prove that Justin Fields is the guy in order to stick around beyond that. I think that's a factor that we need to take into account as well.
I think that's spot on, Mike. I think you're right, and that buttons it up pretty damn good right there. But I think that's certainly a part of it, and I do think it gives them, like you're saying, a redshirt year here to kind of get him ready and it all make it about 2022.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.